What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today. It is the 7th day of December, and here we are sitting at about $88.5 thousand with 8 hours and 52 minutes left in this day. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. So we have gone a little bit lower. Today, we did go a little bit lower than the low we had 2 days ago, but I still think we're at a relative low point. And if we go lower, it's fine. We're still going to find a higher low, likely. It's completely possible that we do take out this low, that we could even go below this low. I'm not so much in that camp anymore. I was thinking for a while, and I'm very open-minded to it because, again, the thought about going below this low, even after moving higher, even after getting above 100K, we could still move below this low, stems from the fact that this RSI here on the daily time frame, right? We're on the daily time frame. The RSI, anytime it gets this low, typically whatever low we find there, we do see lower lows in the months to come. Whenever we were back here in our February, March, April lows, right? April 7th was the low before the market really started to descend last time. When we saw the highest levels of fear in the market at the time, now we're seeing even higher levels of fear back over here than we did over here, and we actually have a higher low over here. Back here, we found support right at this trend line, or right at this line, the exact same line that we found support now in the RSI. And we did pump. We had a fantastic pump. We went from 79K all the way up to 94K. And that was in like 3 days. And then a week later, we saw a lower low. And then we pumped back up. And then 2 weeks later, we saw a lower low. You know what I mean? But they were slightly lower lows. But still, from the course of February 28th, the very end of the month, to April 9th, about a month and a half later, we did see 2 lower lows. We go back in time to the next one that saw this, the next drop that we had. Now this one here, we did not see a lower low. But this one came in proximity to this here, whereas this one was the first touch in a while. Does that make sense? So I think comparing this to this one is not equivalent because this is in close proximity to this. This touch would be more comparable. This touch here from June would be more comparable to what we just examined here. That's my opinion. And the touch from June, you can see you pumped a little bit and then you went down. You saw a lower low. You pumped a lot. You got a higher high and you still saw a lower low. You know what I mean? Maybe this doesn't happen. Maybe we get a reaction like this. And I'm starting to get on board with that a little bit. I'm just very open-minded. And is the word apprehensive correct to use there? I'm very aware of the situation and the dynamics that are at play here. I would not be disappointed and think that we're in a bear market if we went lower. In fact, I would think if we did see a lower low than what we saw here on the 21st, that it would be very insignificantly lower. So insignificant that, I mean, from this point here, we would not go below this point here, right? Like the amount of dropping after we break this, if that ever happens, will be very insignificant. We will likely recover from there, right? Just like it was last time, okay? But I am starting to kind of doubt that we even go below this low. We'll see. Just because there is so much pessimism and fear in the markets. I mean, we look at CoinMarketCap. Let's see if it'll load. Yeah, 22. I mean, we've been in it. What's this thing even look like? We stopped looking at it ever since we've been into the extreme fear because it's just, we're waiting for that recovery. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, we've been down here for a very long time. We've been in levels of fear for a long time, you guys. It's been since and I don't know why it's not loading. It normally tells you the date and stuff. It's kind of odd that it's not right now. Is everything fine? Is everything okay? Yeah, I can move this around. It's not like glitching or anything. Anyways, trying to figure out how long we've been here for. I guess since October we've been here, right? Since like the middle of October we've been here. So that's been a long time because it's, let's just see, since we've gotten into levels of fear. Yeah, October 20th. It's about to have been 2 months. In the next 13 days it'll have been 2 months. That's longer that we've spent time in this area of fear than we had last time, and we're seeing more extreme readings too, more extreme levels of fear too. So I can't help but imagine that we are very near the low, if not at the low itself directly, okay? Other than that, though, talking about what I do think is going to happen, not talking about what I don't, because all that was really just the conversation of what I don't think is going to happen. But it's still something to address because even if the unexpected happens, you want to be prepared for that. Imagine everybody who's bullish on Bitcoin still like I am, every person who still thinks that the bull market's alive, telling everyone, we won't go below that low, that's the low. and then we go slightly lower, and then we bounce and recover, everyone's going to max panic sell at the lows as soon as we break that low, whenever really we've done this before. We've actually done this exact procedure several times this cycle where we see lower lows come in after you hit these low points. And they're just insignificantly lower. Anyways, 1 hour time frame, getting in here, talking about what's going to happen in the short term that I believe is going to happen. I think that we are going to find support here. Again, as I said 2 days ago at this low, I was confident that that was the low. This slightly lower low, this fake out, if it is a fake out, what we're going to see is basically the reaction we're getting now. Now we have 47 minutes left in this hour. So, man, I didn't even realize we moved up $500 the whole time I'm talking. It's a brand new hour. You're moving up a lot. And all this volume, last candle, provided this move. You've now got this exact same move with tremendously less volume. So don't get your feelings hurt if we do come back down. It is possible to come back down from this. Sometimes you start off these candles like this and you leave behind a massive wick, kind of like this candle here. That doesn't mean that we can't push higher afterwards. Looking at this from a low to a high, relative low to a relative high, we got very near the golden ratio, both times. This is what's called front running, where you reach for a golden ratio, where you reach for a very quote-unquote obvious area, prior resistance for support, golden ratio for support. Whenever you reach a significant area like that, and there's either not enough selling pressure or too much buying pressure, which it looks like there's a lot of buying pressure, there's a lot of volume there at the low, people buy ahead of time, and there's just not enough selling pressure to push the price down here, right? Where the masses are trying to buy up, this is where the big dogs are trying to buy up because something big might be happening. Or, again, is this just a little shake this way before we continue to go down? We can. And if we do see prices at 87.6K to 87K itself, just below 87K, that's fine. That's the golden ratio zone itself. That's prior areas of resistance here. It's very possible that we do take a little dip in there before recovering. However, I like this look right now, guys. I really do like this look a lot. 45 minutes left. We've already got average volume, right? The average volume, you see this wispy little histogram here? I'm outlining it. Those little, like, translucent lines right there, right? That's the average volume. So the fact this is already at average volume, we're 15 minutes, we're a quarter of the way through this 1 hour candle. I'd be curious to see, what if we BART here? What if we BART right here? What if this is the BART? It is Sunday. What if we just BART up? I can't believe I didn't go with that first. What if this is the BART moment right here? We got our little devil horns. We got the double bottom right at the golden ratio, the front running and everything. What if we just move straight? What if by the end of the day we're up at 93, 94K again? I really wouldn't be surprised. But again, just calling for a low here, as we did 2 days ago, calling for a low here. Oh no, we were off by a little bit. Okay, whatever, who cares? If it pains, moments like this really anger the trolls. They get really upset because moments like this where I don't say, I was wrong. It's as if I'm trying to lie to my audience and promote this idea that I'm always right. Right? If I ever say I'm always right, understand that I'm just trolling the trolls. I'm never always right. Nobody in this space is always right. I dare you to find somebody who is. Ben Cohen, I think, is the only person who's been basically 90% accurate or more this whole year. He hasn't been right about everything this year. Actually, there's a couple of calls he's made recently that I think he's going to be proven wrong on too. But time will tell on that. But that's not the point. Most people, if not everybody, they're wrong at some time. I will be wrong again. And some people really get irate whenever I say the low is here, the low is actually over here, and when we're expecting to move up like this, instead we move up over here, people want me to be like, you weren't right, you didn't call this right, don't lie to your audience. So I'm just being very transparent with you guys right here. I did think that was the low. Don't hate me. Please don't report me because that was a slightly lower low there. Here we are at 89K right now, looking like we do want to recover, and I think that we will. You got a lot of volume here on this drop, not as much volume in comparison. And really, you had a good spike in volume, the largest spike that we've had since this move. It wasn't as much, it was lesser still, and it didn't take you anywhere. When you get a lot of volume and you're breaking out somewhere, but you're not going anywhere, that typically means you're not, like, look at this, right? We had a lot of volume here. We had a lot of volume here at the top, we're breaking out, but we didn't really go anywhere, so we came back down, right? Here, you didn't have a lot of volume, so of course you went lower. But anyways, if we go lower, 87.6, 87K itself probably holds. 85K at the lowest would hold. That'd be my expectation. And if that doesn't hold, then we could talk about lower lows potentially, right? as we did in the beginning. But at this point, I think we're going to provide a higher low. I think the higher low will be provided right here, and I think we are continuing to move up. If we do BART out of this, if we do spend the remainder of the day, which at this point is about 6.5 hours left in this day, I believe. Let me think. Hold on. Wait. No. 8.5 hours. So 8.5 hours left in this day, I think. Let's just see. Yeah, 8 hours 42 minutes. If we spend the rest of the day doing this, I really wouldn't be surprised. We could be up here. We could be even higher. Here, whenever we barred it up, did we go to this high or did we go above this high? We went above this high, so I wouldn't be surprised if it ultimately took us above this high. But again, initially we dropped, or we pumped fast. Initially we dropped fast, then we meandered down, right? So maybe after watching this video, by the time most of you watch this, I wouldn't be surprised if we were really making headway up here. But it could be another day that we consolidate before we make that happen. It doesn't have to happen right now. Looking at the 1 hour time frame again and looking at it without anything on it, just looking at the indicators here, we're bouncing right off the oversold zone. That's a powerful signal in itself. We do have bullish divergence because you have a closing low here and a lower low there with a low here and a higher low there. Bullish divergence. Actually, wow, is that? It's not bullish divergence from back there, but still higher lows. Kind of in the right trajectory too. Low here. It's kind of nice, right? Kind of a nice trajectory, setting up for something bigger maybe. Stochastics rejecting the oversold zone. They're weird. They're very weird down here. This is kind of an odd reaction that you're having, but it's more bullish than bearish, that's for sure. And the MACD is interesting because it's like you're rejecting the zero. We've seen this before, though. We have seen this before where it's like you reject the zero, but your rejection doesn't reject, so then you pump up. This typically does give you a nice move up. Whenever you should be rejecting the zero, you look like you're rejecting it like you do now, and then you come back up to cross it. You typically get those quick moves, which again might very well represent what we did last time, this kind of BART-esque shape. We do have 41 minutes left, and we are pulling back a little bit. Do keep in mind, again, with those lower lows, it could happen. And even if we don't BART from here, we go lower, and then we break out, whatever. It doesn't have to be a BART. We can break out in other ways. This BART is not all we're leaning on. If the BART fails, we'll find a slightly lower low from here, a higher low overall, and we'll still recover. 4 hour time frame, at least that's my perspective. 4 hour time frame. We have 40 minutes left in this 4 hour. This hour is very bullish in itself. If this hour continues to grow, we'll actually close this candle at the 4 hour would look just as much of a reversal candle as it does on the 1 hour should this 1 hour close green like this or higher. This is actually not a bad look at all. 4 hour RSI. We do have higher lows here as well, which is nice to see. We're at the oversold zone. It's really weird. We're crowding this area, and the last time that we kind of crowded this area, this was the reaction that we had, right? It was very not fun. Very, very not fun. But over here, this is whenever you had this little crowding reaction. You're kind of moving sideways, and then you broke out like a day later to the downside. I don't know if that necessarily implies that we're going to break out to the downside here. What I would say is if we start getting oversold, I'd be a little bit concerned. As long as we're finding resistance, or should I say support, on the oversold zone and not getting oversold, we're not like living in the oversold zone like this, and as long as we're not getting higher highs here like we did with lower highs in the price, getting hidden bearish divergence all along the way, I think we're fine. Let's see how we come out of this. I think the best reaction would be a sharp reaction like we had last time, like we had the time before. But we'll see. Stochastics, to be fair, the stochastics are kind of odd here on the 4 hour as well. You get kind of odd readings whenever you're moving sideways like this, though. I want to say I'm bullish on it just because you bounced off the oversold zone, but you are crossed down at the moment, so that's bearish. Overall bearish, I guess, on the stochastics, to be fair. And then the MACD is overall bearish as well, but it's very not useful at the moment. I mean, technically you have bullish divergence. Every time you've been bearish, it's been at the lows recently, right? Every time you've been bullish, it's been at the highs recently. So when you're choppy and you're moving sideways like this, the MACD isn't helpful. It's very unhelpful, actually. Daily time frame, looking at this here. Again, right at the golden ratio of the overall low to high there. You're right at the 50 level for the stochastics to bounce. The MACD still looks like it wants to continue pushing higher, and the RSI here has broken out of its downtrend. And you actually do have a higher low here now with the recent events over the last 24 hours of just dropping. You've actually got a nice higher low right there. We could go a little bit lower. If we close today at the 40, that's fine. We could bounce right off the 40, and that's fine. If this move up by the end of the day doesn't happen like I think it will, then maybe it'll happen tomorrow. Maybe it'll happen the next day. Again, we can move sideways for a little bit before we move higher. It doesn't have to be right now. But if the 1 hour time frame is suggesting what I think it's suggesting, we should see a nice reaction probably going into the rest of the day. We probably do have a Sunday pump. Probably. But we'll see. There's 8 hours and 38 minutes left. We're down 0.5% on the day. a lot of time to recover, and I'm seeing good signs on the charts here that suggest that we could. The weekly time frame here, we've got 8 hours, 38 minutes left in this week. Very neutral week at the moment, right? That's what they call, it's kind of like a spinning top almost, except it's like a spinning top at the bottom here. Spinning tops don't necessarily mean they're at the tops. The spinning top, it's like an actual top. Like that's a spinning top, even though it's not at the actual top. That weekly candle is a spinning top there. It's where you have wicks on both sides, and it's a very thin. It looks like it's a spinning top, like a top that kids play with, right? Like you spin it, right? Like that. The stochastics have reset entirely. In fact, we are right at the moment where the blue oscillator has crossed above the oversold zone and the orange is looking to do so. We've taken a little bit of a pullback as of now because this week is red. We're only down 0.5%. We have 8 hours and 37 minutes left in this week. If this pump happens the way that I think it will, we should close this week green, and just maybe we will get both of these oscillators out of the oversold zone. And every time that has happened this cycle, whenever either oscillator gets in the oversold zone and then both come out, or just one comes out in this case, that has marked a low every single time. This was the end of the cycle. The bear market marked the low. First significant macro low here in September 2023. Well, I guess not your significant macro low. That might have been here, but here, what you probably base your chart trend lines off of would be here. That marked the low there, and it's the same low. This one here marked the low here. This one here marked the low here. This one here marked the low here. Maybe. If we get this week to close green, or next week to close green, whatever, as long as we get to cross out of this. If we reject here and then next week rejects as well, that could be that lower low scenario that we opened up the video talking about. Okay, if we do reject here, the MACD, the oscillators have reset. We're right at this area where you'd expect to find support. Everything about this gives me vibes of exactly like what we did back here, exactly like what we did back here, and exactly like what we did back here as well. Now, if you notice, all of these low parts right here, whoops, I'm just going to try to draw these lines straight. Can we use an arrow? We'll use an arrow. Arrow there, and then an arrow here. Okay, we'll use all these arrows. And then I'll delete all this real quick, and then we can just see that anytime that we've consolidated at any of these points, notice that from the moment that we found our low area to the time that we broke out, that was 9 weeks. That was 9 weeks. That little bit right there, 9 weeks. From the moment that we found our low area to the moment that we really started to, the moment we really started to break out was over here, but the moment that we started to make a move, I would say that this move here, right, it wasn't just this part here, it wasn't just this part here, it was probably from down here and up. That's your move up, right? It's like this move was all of this, but you can dissect that into 2 different moves if you really want to, you know. I don't know, something like that. I would say that this move, you could say that the most vibrant part was right here, but I think the overall move was still here to there. Anyways, the time at which we consolidated and then we started to break out was about 10 weeks there. Okay, started to move higher. Here, once we got to our low area and then we started to move up, that was about 6 weeks. We didn't break out until the 8th week. But we started to move up on the 6th week there. And on that 6th week, I might add, we found our low. Here we are, consolidating here. It has only been 2 weeks. So the call, regardless of up or down over the past 2 weeks, we consistently come back to this idea that we will be moving sideways. That Bitcoin is not going to be seeing new all-time highs or breaking out to lower lows anytime soon. It will likely be, at best, the very end of December that we start to make any kind of significant moves anywhere. But it'll probably be sometime in January, you know. And in this time, we can definitely see altcoins start to rally if some of the big top 10 coins start to rally as well. As long as Bitcoin's not dumping, as long as it's playing nice and it's kind of consolidating, I think we can see some altcoins rally in this time. Bitcoin might not have an end-of-year rally. Maybe it does. Maybe it breaks this trend of a month and a half to 2 months worth of consolidation, and it just does half a month's worth of consolidation, and then it moves up. Maybe that's exactly what we're due for. I don't know. I hope so. That'd be great. But even if it doesn't, I think altcoins can still manage to run. At any rate, I think it would be nice. This week opened up at $90,700. I think it'd be nice if this candle could push back to that price and close above there before the end of the week. That's just my thoughts there. It says negative 0.17%. Is that correct? Yeah, negative 0.1. For some reason, I thought it was 0.5. I thought we were down 0.5. Oh, it's the day is down 0.05. We're down about 1.7%. We'd have to pump a whole nother 1.7% in the next 8 hours, 32 minutes, which can definitely happen. But I think that would look nice primarily because of the weekly stochastics and the RSI and bouncing off the oversold zone. There's a lot of signals here that we're at the low. We're ready to go. But just because we're ready to go, right? I could have told you here, we're ready to go, man. We're ready to go to the upside. And I was right. Just not for 3 or 4 weeks. Could have told you here, we're ready to go, man. We're going to go to the upside. But really, we had like 3 or 4 weeks consolidation, and then we made our move. I could have told you here, we were ready to go. We did it. We consolidated. We're ready to go. Or even here at the low, we're ready to go. But it still took 2 weeks before you actually moved up, right? So here we're ready to go. Could be tomorrow. Could be 4 weeks from tomorrow, right? But soon enough, we will be seeing some voluptuous upside with Bitcoin. Next target area overall is anywhere between about $160,000 to $200,000 once we do make that move higher. I very much do believe that the bull market is in. I have not once said that the bear market was in. I've fully, actually, completely protested this idea that the bear market was in. There's moments where we talked about the possibilities more. We're talking about the possibilities, I guess, always. But we haven't doubted that we're in a bull market at all this whole time. And I want that to be a permanent stamp of defiance of our emotions once we actually come up here. I want everybody who is with me in this, assuming that we're not in a bear market, that we are still in a bull market, I want you to hold your heads proud and high once we're up here, because this wasn't easy, man. This was not an easy dump. It's not that it wasn't an easy dump because of the price action. I have sat through plenty of 36% drops during bull markets before. This and larger. This is not why this drop was so dramatic. The reason the drop was so dramatic was because of all the noise. All the content creators, all the people on X.com, all the media, all the negative news, which of course, as always, just like back here, was the most negative. We had end of cycle calls here. We had end of cycle calls here. It was a double top. This is a double top, right? They're saying the same thing. And we actually said this back here, that people are going to try to say that this is a double top. We definitely didn't think that we'd pull back. But all I'm trying to say is it wasn't easy because of how much noise there was. And if you sifted through the noise and just stuck to your conviction and you looked at the charts for what they are, you'll come out on top and you'll be better prepared for the next time that it happens. And if you failed, if you did think that this is a bear market at the beginning of the bear market, and you bit the media bullet, whatever everybody is pushing out there that to convince you that this is that we're in a bear market, you will learn next time that influencers are not enough to help you determine which direction the market is going. You need to figure that out for yourself, because people can be wrong. I can be wrong. Man, this video would age like sour milk if we were in a bear market. We'll see. I don't think we are. I'm very confident that we're not. I would say we have a 90% chance that we are in a bull market still. 10% chance that we're in a bear market, but still 10%, man. That's still, if we had a 10% chance to crash in every airplane that we were in, that I wouldn't want to fly anymore. You know what I mean? Like that's still a good chance. So we'll be open-minded to this. We'll be open-minded to either outcome that could happen. I think we're going to break out to the upside, though. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.